talk about some queens who wore the crown in Israel. Let's go ahead and pick up at First Kings chapter 21. And we're going to pick up at verse 1. And we're going to talk about the crown. We're going to talk about the crown. So in First Kings chapter 21, in verse 1, it says, "And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I might have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it." Highlight a better vineyard for me, Aki. He said that I will give you a better vineyard because your vineyard is close by my palace, and I want to put some herbs in it. I want to get me some onions out there. I want to put me some parsley, some basil out there. My wife, when she get to cooking, she can go right out there to the herb garden. I want your garden, and I'll give you a garden that's better. He also said, if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. Hey, look, if you don't want another garden, I'll pay you for it. I'll give you the gold or the silver that it amounts to for it. I'll give that to you. Verse 3, "And Naboth said unto Ahab, Yah forbid me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee." So looking at it, why did Naboth not take the deal? Why didn't he take the deal, family? I mean, it seemed like a good deal. It's what we would call today a come up. He's got a nice garden. He could get a nice vineyard. He could get a better vineyard. It would be today what we would call a flip. Why didn't he take the deal? Why did he say that Yah would not allow him to sell his inheritance? He said, Yah forbid me to be able to sell it to you or trade it with you. Well, in Numbers 27, you don't have to go there, Aki. You can go to Numbers 36. We'll pick up at verse 6. But in Numbers 27, there were some women who were known as the daughters of Zelophehad. And they came to Moshe and they had an issue. They say, look, Moshe, our father died in the wilderness, and you were giving instructions on how to divide and divvy the land up for inheritance. But our father died in the wilderness, okay? And our fathers didn't have any sons, so we don't have any brothers. So if you are handing the lots to the sons of those that were slain in the wilderness and the men, how do we get an inheritance? And so they came to Moshe, and Moshe, like a good leader, he went to the Most High. And so the Most High commanded Moshe, he said, look, give Zelophehad daughters, give them their portion, just like you would do his sons. Give them their portion, give them their inheritance. Well, by the time you get to Numbers 36, the uncles, I do believe, of the daughters, they come to Moshe and they have a valid concern. They say, look, Moshe, my concern is, or our concern is, that you've given this lot of inheritance, this land that belongs to our tribe, you've given it to the daughters of Zelophehad, and they don't have any brothers. So eventually they're going to marry. And once they marry, they're going to marry outside of our tribe. And our inheritance will now go from us having possession of it to going outside of the tribe, and we're going to lose a great portion of our inheritance. So again, like any good leader should do, if your leader not doing this when you go to him with a problem, he consulted the Most High. If your leader not doing that, you got the wrong person leading you. Moshe consulted the Most High, and the Most High gave him an instruction, all right? And that instruction that the Most High gave him is found in Numbers chapter 36, verse 6. And it says, this is Torah, by the way. This is the thing which Yah doth command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, Let them marry to whom they think best. Only to the family of the tribe of their fathers shall they marry. So he said, look, we're not going to sit here and pick who their husbands will be. The only stipulation that we're going to put on the daughters of Zelophehad that has the inheritance is when they do marry, they have to marry within their tribe. Verse 7 says, so shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe, for every one of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. So the Most High gives Moshe an instruction. He said, look, this is Torah. This is a commandment. Tell my people that, okay, they can trade land and sell land within their tribe, but they can't sell their land outside of their tribe. And concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, tell them that they can marry who they want to marry, but they have to marry within their tribe so that their inheritance does not go from tribe to tribe. So Naboth is telling the king, he says, look, I can't sell you the vineyard no matter how sweet the deal is, because if I sell you my vineyard, then I will be breaking Torah. And I'm not about to break Torah. So I'm sorry, king, it's a hard no for me. Verse 4, it says, and Ahab came into his house heavy. He came into his house with his head down. He was sad. His voice was low. And it says that he was displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and wouldn't eat no bread. He was just sad, Mishpachah. He was sad. Picture a king that's responsible for being the strength of a nation. Picture a king who's responsible for making sure that the morale of the nation is up, and he's walking around sad. Ahab, you want something to eat? No, I'm all right. And he's going to lay down. He's laying down all day. Ahab just moping around the house, got his head down, looking depressed. He probably hadn't changed his clothes. Ahab probably ain't, he not bathing like he's supposed to, just laying around all day, to the point that his wife has to come to him and say, what is wrong with you? You're supposed to be the king. Verse 5. But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said unto him, why is thy spirit so sad, that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, well, because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite and said unto him, give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Jezebel said unto him, dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. She says, look, do you or do you not govern Israel? I mean, ain't you the one with the crown? Aren't you the one that calls the shots around here? Are you or are you not the king? Are you or are you not wearing the crown? Ain't you running this show in Israel? Now, I got a question for you, Mr. Bakar. You can put it in the chat. I got a question for you. Who instructed that the inheritance of a tribe cannot be transferred from tribe to tribe? Who gave that instruction? Was it the king? Was it Ahab? Who said that the land could not be sold to another tribe? That's right. The Most High Yah gave that instruction. The Most High Yah gave the instruction that Naboth cannot sell his vineyard to anybody outside of his tribe. So when Jezebel was asking, do you now govern the nation of Israel? What she was actually saying was, you actually gonna let Yah stop you from getting something that you want? Like, you're gonna let Yah stop you from reigning how you want to reign inside of your kingdom? You the one with the crown. You're gonna let Yah stop you from doing what you want when you want? Don't you wear the crown? Notice what she says in verse 7. Highlight this for me. She says, I. She said, I. She didn't tell him to get up and go get it if he wanted. She said, I will give you the vineyard. She said, I will give you what you're coveting. Because in all actuality, that's what he was doing. That's exactly what the king was doing. He was coveting his neighbor's land. And we know that that in itself is against Torah. I can give me Exodus 20:17. We should all know this. We already looked at it. We already looked at it. That's your commandments. Number 10. Exodus 20:17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Told Aki, let's go back to 1 Kings 21. Pick up at verse 8. You see, Ahab didn't just say, that's a nice garden, let me see if he want to sell it. When he couldn't have it, he got depressed. His mind was set on it, and he couldn't live his life. The text said he wouldn't eat. He was just laying around depressed, holding his head down because he coveted his neighbor's land so bad. And his wife came to him and she said, I will give you his vineyard. She said, I will show Yah who's wearing the crown in Israel. Verse 8. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name. Look at that. Ain't he a weak king? His wife had to write letters for him. It says that she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in the city dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in the letter saying, proclaim a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. She said, look, proclaim a fast. And when I was reading it, I was like, why is she telling them to proclaim a fast? But see, something happens when you are fasting, family. See, when you are proclaiming a fast and when you are fasting, you are looking for the presence of the Most High Yah. You are looking for Yah to intervene. Okay, you are making supplication with the Most High Yah. So if your mind ain't on the Most High Yah at any other time, your mind is on the Most High Yah when you are truly praying and fasting. And so she wrote the letter to the elders and she said, look, tell everybody that we're going to proclaim a fast. And I want you to do something. She said, I want you to take Naboth and I want you to set him up. All right. I want you to take him and I want you to elevate him and exalt him among the people. Why? So all eyes are on him at this solemn time. I want everybody focused on him at this solemn time. Right? Verse 10, it says, and set 2 men. Highlight that for me. Leave it highlighted, Aki. Somebody put it in the chat. How many men she say? She said set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him, to bear witness against him, saying, thou did blaspheme Elohim and the king, and then carry him out and stone him that he may die. Listen, I know we've all either read or heard about Jezebel or the spirit of Jezebel, but when I start studying this text, I realized just how crafty Jezebel was because, see, she said set 2 men. She didn't say send a man. She said set 2 men. 2 men to do what? After we got him on a pedestal, after we got him exalted at a time that's supposed to be a solemn time while everybody is seeking the Most High, I want you to set 2 men, the son of Belial, which means the son of worthlessness or children of destruction, set 2 men before him while all eyes are on him. And I want those 2 men to accuse him of blasphemy towards the Most High Yah. But he said 2 men, family, 2 men. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 17, Aki, verse 6. Because, see, she was truly crafty with what she was doing. She wasn't just throwing that out there. There you go. Somebody already rolling with me. That's right. Deuteronomy 17 and 6. See, we often use this scripture too, but we use it out of context. Because, see, 2 witnesses are required when the result of the offense is death. Verse 6, it says, at the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. But at the mouth of 1 witness, he shall not be put to death. So she understood Torah. Let that sink in. She understood Torah. Even though she understood that what her husband was doing was coveting. Even though she understood what she was doing was sinful and wrong, she understood Torah enough to say, if I'm going to do this right and truly take out Naboth, what I have to do is I have to send two witnesses. And I got to make sure that the accusation is on point. Give me Leviticus chapter 24, verse 16, Aki. Leviticus 24:16. She understood Torah and she said, we're not just going to make an accusation of Naboth. What we're going to do is we're going to make an accusation that is worthy of death. You see in Leviticus chapter 24, verse 16, it says, and he that blasphemeth the name of Yah, he shall surely be put to death, and all the congregation shall certainly stone him, as well the stranger as he that is born in the land, when he blasphemes the name of Yah, shall be put to death. So she knew exactly what she was doing when she said, call a fast. She said, call a fast because everybody's going to be looking toward the Most High. Everybody is going to be wanting to hear from the Most High. Everybody is looking for their breakthrough. Nobody wants to offend the Most High when we're doing a fast. And while they're doing a fast, I want you to take Naboth and I want you to put him up on a pedestal, exalt him in front of all the people for everybody to see. And I want you to send two witnesses. And I want them to accuse him of blasphemy. Now, Jezebel was using Torah to manipulate. She was using Torah to manipulate. And I'm reminded of Hasatan in the garden and when he tried to tempt Mashiach, how he tried to use script. He tried to use the words of the Most High to tangle and twist and set a snare for his victims, right? She was using Torah for her own personal gain. Even though she was breaking the third, the sixth, the ninth, and the 10th commandment, your third commandment being, thou shalt not take the name of Yah in vain. She was sending people to do things according to how Yah said do it, but she was doing it in vain. She was doing it in a way where she was carrying the Most High's name in vain and misrepresenting him to kill a man to take his land. Commandment number 6, thou shalt not murder. She wanted to kill him to get him out the way. Number 9, thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. She sent two witnesses to bear false witness against her neighbor. And then also, number 10, thou shalt not covet. So with her knowing Torah and using Torah to manipulate the people, she knew she was breaking Torah. But how could you do that? Like, how could you be a person who knows Torah and still use Torah to manipulate people and break it at will? How could you do that? How could you be a person who knows the word and only uses the word to trip people up? But I'm going to tell you something about Jezebel, family. I'm going to tell you something that we got to understand about Jezebel. Jezebel was not an Israelite. Okay? Jezebel did not reverence nor did she worship the Most High Yah. Jezebel was a Zidonian. And for those who may not know about Zidon and may not know what a Zidonian is, Jezebel, she was a Canaanite. Okay, she was not only a Canaanite, but she grew up worshiping Baal. Not only was she a Zidonian, not only did she grow up worshiping Baal, she was a Zidonian princess. Jezebel grew up in royalty. Aki, give me 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 31. We're gonna break this thing down a little bit further than surface level today to try to get some understanding on what's going on with this woman and her husband and the crown. In 1 Kings, it tells us in chapter 16, verse 31, that she grew up royalty. And so all she cared about, all she knew was the crown. He probably was telling Ahab, like, look, my daddy was a king. Okay, my daddy was a king, and I saw my daddy take what he wanted. And how we know her daddy was a king? Because the text says right here, and it came to pass as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshiped him. And so she's saying, look, I'm going to show you I'm gonna show you how to wear the crown. Don't worry, I'm gonna get you the vineyard. I'm gonna do that for you. You don't have to worry. Look, you sit back. When you get ready to eat, you go get you some bread. I'm gonna send somebody to come check on you. Just only thing I need is your seal. Give me your seal, and I'm gonna handle the rest for you. So she goes on to conspire on how to kill Naboth and how to get his vineyard. That's right. I keep somebody say stunting like her daddy. That's right. Go back to 1 Kings 21, and let's pick up at verse 11. She conspires to kill Naboth, and she sends letters out, and she does it crafty or craftily, if that's a word. She does it in a manner that she can manipulate the people, because she said the people are going to want to follow Torah. I just need to be able to pick the right people to put in front of them. If I can get the right people to put in front of them, I can execute my game plan. Verse 11, it says, and the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles who were the inhabitants of his city, did as Jezebel had said unto them, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them. They proclaimed a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. And there came in, how many? Put it in the chat. Make sure y'all rolling with me. How many people? There came 2 men, children of Belial, and sat before him, and the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did blaspheme Elohim and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones that he died. Innocent blood over a vineyard. I mean, honestly, we've seen people kill for less. Sad, but it's true. We've seen our people kill, and we've seen our people be killed for less. But the price of a vineyard was a price that Ahab and Jezebel was willing to pay to shed innocent blood. Verse 14, then they said to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said unto Ahab, arise, get up, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth. I told you I'd get it for you. Y'all told you can't have it, but I got you. Get up. Take possession of the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money, for Naboth is not alive, but dead. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it. Oh, he all good now. He done shook it off. He back to normal now. He went and took him a shower. He put on his best garments. He said, saddle up my horse and prepare my chariot. The king is coming to take his land. After his wife done been his backbone, when he was too weak to do the wickedness that he wanted to do in his heart. When he was too weak for that, and his wife done stood up and became the man of the house. She was wearing the pants. Now he ready now. He done got up, and now he ready to go take what he want. So verse 17, it says, and the word of Yah came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, arise, go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whether he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, thus saith Yahuwah, hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, thus saith Yahuwah, in the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine. Anybody ever heard that old saying? Put a 100 in the chat. You ever heard that old saying, you reap what you sow? Or maybe you heard somebody say, what goes up must come down. He said, look, I want you to go tell Ahab that he's going to reap what he sows. The same way the dog licked the blood of Naboth that he spilled, he said the dog gonna lick his blood too. Verse 20, and Ahab said unto Elijah, hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of Yah. All right, highlight, thou hast sold thyself. Don't miss that. He said, you have sold yourself. You see, Ahab and Elijah had some history. Elijah and Jezebel had some history. So they weren't new to each other. And that's why he's asking Elijah, like, oh, you finally found me. You finally done caught up with me. But Elijah said, yeah, I caught up with you and I got a message. He said, because you have sold yourself. Thou hast sold thyself. Verse 21, behold, I will bring evil upon thee and will take away thy posterity and will cut off from Ahab all that pisseth against the wall and him that is shut up and left in Israel. So he's telling them basically, look, all of your sons, anybody who would be fit to reign in your stead, I'm going to destroy them. Verse 22, and I will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahiah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger and made Israel to sin. You remember Jeroboam, because he was so worried about the people leaving and going to serve Rehoboam, Jeroboam set up that golden calf. You remember he set up those idols and he said, look, y'all don't have to go to Jerusalem to worship and keep the feast. Y'all can just come to Samaria. And the Most High said, no, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. And so he's telling Ahab the same thing. He said, look, you know what happened to Jeroboam and you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. Ahab, you wicked, I got to give it to you. Verse 23. And of Jezebel also spake Yah, saying, he said, look, Jezebel, you're not exempt, you're gonna get it too. The dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Now, look at this. He said that the dogs will lick up Ahab's blood, but he said that the dogs were going to eat Jezebel. I think Jezebel had a little more skin in the game when it came to the wickedness that was being presented before the Most High and provoking him to anger. And we're going to break that down in just a few, Mishpachah. Verse 24, him that dieth of Ahab in the city, the dog shall eat. And him that dieth in the field, shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did, I like this, sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of Yah, whom Jezebel, his wife, stirred up. And he did very abominably in following idols, according to all things as the Amorites, whom Yah cast out before the children of Israel. He continues to say, Ahab sold himself. What does it mean to sell yourself? What does it mean to sell yourself to somebody? What does it mean? When you sell yourself to somebody, what that means is that you are willingly becoming a servant. You have agreed to serve willingly. Ahab served Baal willingly. Go to chapter 16 of 1 Kings, Aki, and let's look at verse 31. Because see, it's been told to him twice that you sold yourself. And we're gonna see that Ahab, he did this thing willingly. He couldn't pull Adam and Hawa in the garden and say, hey, the serpent beguiled me. I was deceived. No. You sold yourself. You serve willingly. Verse 31, it says, and it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took the wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, the king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him. And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria. So he built Baal a house in Israel. He built Baal a house in Samaria, and he built Baal an altar in his house, in the place of worship for Baal in Samaria. And on top of that, Ahab made a grove, and Ahab did more to provoke Yah, Elohim of Israel, to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him. That means Jeroboam in all his wickedness, how he called Israel to sin, it couldn't hold a candlestick to what Ahab was doing. It said Ahab was wicked above all kings that were before him. Ahab sold himself into wickedness. You see, family, there was a time that you and I were caught up in things that we didn't even know was wickedness. There were times that we were caught up in things and we didn't understand that it was pagan worship. We didn't understand that it was idolatry. We didn't understand that it was all sorts of sin and deity worship that we were all caught up in. But when you gain the knowledge and you gain the understanding and you know better, you're supposed to cut those things out. But see, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, family, if you in this truth, and you understand that those things are wicked and those things are sinful, and you still holding on to them, I fear for you. I fear for you because you are now selling yourself into wickedness. You know that it's wrong. You know that it's pagan worship. You know that it's idolatry. You know that it's deity worship, and you're still engaging in it because you don't want to let it go. You are selling yourself into wickedness. And Ahab was selling himself into wickedness, but it was Jezebel, as the script said, was stirring him up. Jezebel was stirring him up. It was Jezebel that was putting the battery in his back. So Jezebel goes on, her and Ahab, and they kill Naboth, and they take the vineyard away. And so now Ahab is happy. He's got what he wanted. He probably planted him, well, having somebody plant him some fresh herbs. He got somebody planting him a couple of grapes out there, get him a little wine. He happy. Everything's all good. But see, Yah passes judgment on Ahab and Jezebel by the prophet Elijah. And so he tells Elijah, look, I need you to go tell him that his whole family is going to die. The dogs are going to lick up the blood of Ahab in the same land that they licked up the blood of Naboth. And Jezebel's flesh, they're going to be eaten by the dogs. Elijah, I need you to go let them know. Go ahead and let them know. And Ahab, I don't have no problem with repentance. That's what we're supposed to do. But Ahab, being the coward that he is, he repents, right? Hey, look, hallelujah. I'm not saying he shouldn't have repented. That's not what I'm saying. But he couldn't stand to take what Elijah was telling him. And so he started to repent, and he started to humble himself. And because Yah sees that he's humbling himself, Yah says, you know what? I'm going to hold off on that judgment on Ahab until after he's dead. Okay, you still gonna die, and your family gonna die, but I'm not gonna kill your whole family in front of you. I'm gonna let you live your life, and when it's your time to go, we're gonna take you out, and then I'm gonna serve judgment, just like I told the prophet Elijah. But let me tell you something, family. Hallelujah. The Almighty Yah, knowing the end from the beginning, he gave Elijah instructions before he ever sent Elijah in to speak to Ahab, according to what he had did to Naboth. He gave him instructions. What I mean, I keep 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 16. He gave Elijah instructions on what he was going to set in place for all of this to come to pass before he ever even told Elijah, look, go tell him that the dog's going to lick up his blood. Let's look at 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 16. It says, and Jehu the son or grandson, don't mistake that, Jehu the son or grandson of Nimshi shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel, and Elisha the son of Shaphat of Abel-Maachah shalt thou anoint to be prophet in thy room. So he says, look, I know Ahab has the crown right now, Elijah. I know Ahab has the crown. And I know that he's the king for the northern tribe of Israel right now. I know he's still sitting on the throne. He said, but go to Jehu. And when you get to Jehu, I want you to anoint Jehu as king so he can take over as king of the northern kingdom. And I want you to anoint Elisha to be the prophet. So by the time we get to 2 Kings chapter 9, verse 1, Aki, Elijah has already done this. By the time we get to 2 Kings chapter 9, verse 1, Elijah has already done this. He's already gotten with Elisha. He's already met Elisha. He's already anointed Elisha to be a prophet. Elisha is following Elijah. So in 2 Kings chapter 9, verse 1, it says, and Elisha the prophet called one of the children of the prophets and said unto him, gird up thy loins and take this box of oil in thine hand and go to Ramoth Gilead. And when thou comest thither, or when thou come here, or when you get there, Look out there for Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi. That's why I said the grandson of Nimshi, because he was actually the son of Jehoshaphat. And go in and make him arise from among his brethren and carry him to an inner chamber. He was truly a prophet. How he knew he was going to be among his brethren? How he know that? He said, make him arise from among his brethren and carry him into an inner chamber. Then take the box of oil and pour it on his head and say, thus saith Yah, I have anointed thee king over Israel. Then open the door and flee. Tarry not. Look, Elisha told that young boy, he said, look, do what I tell you to do, nothing more, and get up out of there, because when this happens, it's going to go down. So I need you to go anoint Jehu, and once you anoint him and tell him what thus saith the Most High, you open that door and you get out of there. Verse 4, so the young man, even the young man, the prophet, went to Ramoth Gilead, and when he came, behold, the captains of the host were sitting, and he said, I have an errand to thee, which means I got a message for you, O captain. And Jehu said, and to which of all us? And he said, to thee, O captain. Somebody put the word captain in the chat, because I don't know whether you caught that or not. Jehu is actually a captain in Ahab's army. Jehu is a part of Ahab's army, but Jehu is the one that the Most High Yah said, he's the one that we're going to anoint to take over Ahab's position as king in the northern kingdom. Verse 6, and he arose and went into the house, and he poured the oil on his head and said unto him, thus saith Yah Elohim of Israel, I have anointed thee king over the people of Yah, even over Israel. And thou shalt smite the house of Ahab thy master, that I might avenge the blood of my servants, the prophets, and the blood of all the servants of Yah at the hand of Jezebel. So you remember, family, you ain't got to go there, Aki. You remember back in 1 Kings when Jezebel killed the prophets of the Most High? You remember she put a hit out on Elijah? She had Elijah on the run because Elijah had killed some of her prophets. Y'all had to go get Elijah out the cave and tell her, hey, look, come on out that cave, boy. I'm your strength. I'm your protector. You don't have nothing to worry about. Come on out that cave. Y'all said, Jehu, you know what? Me and Jezebel, we got a little history. And I need you to take care of that. I need you to handle that for me. I need you to destroy Ahab and his family and Jezebel for what she did to my people and my prophets. And in return, you know what I'm going to give you? Somebody put it in the chat. What are you going to give them? What y'all going to give them? What's the title of today's message? He said, the crown. I'm going to give you the crown. Verse 8, for the whole house of Ahab shall perish, and I will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel. And I will make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahiah. And the dog shall eat Jezebel in the portion of Jezreel, and there shall be none to bury her. And he opened the door and fled. That prophet ain't stick around for no well wishes. He didn't stick around for no farewell. He didn't stick around for no thank you. He didn't stick around for a hallelujah, a meal, or nothing. He did what he had to do. He said what he had to say, and he jetted. He jetted just as instructed. Verse 11, then Jehu came forth to the servants of his master, and one said unto him, is all well? Wherefore came this mad fellow to thee? Now, this man who came to him was the son of a prophet, but was also a prophet. And you see how when you are giving the word of the Most High, when you are trying to give somebody the word of the Most High, those who don't understand, to them, you're the crazy one. To the ones who don't understand, when you're trying to give the word of the Most High, you're the crazy one. You're a mad fellow. But they said, basically, what does mad fellow have to come say to you? What do you want? Wherefore came this mad fellow to thee? And he said unto them, you know the man in his communication. Jehu was trying to play it all. He's like, man, you know how them prophets do. Man, he just talking. He talking, man. He talking that Torah stuff. He talking that hallelujah stuff. He talking that prophecy talk. You know, y'all know how he do. He won't saying too much. You know, he was just trying to give me some game. And they said, it is false. Tell us now. They like, look, we don't believe you, Jehu. You lying. We know when you lying. We've been around you long enough. He told you something. What do he have to tell you? Jehu was like, man, y'all got me. You got me. And really, Jehu was probably so excited he couldn't keep the news to himself. He like, look, man, shoot. Most High just sent the prophet to tell me I'm about to be the king. They about to give me the crown. Man, look, I'm ready to tell somebody. And he said, thus and thus spake he to me, saying, thus saith Yah, I have anointed thee king over Israel. Then they hasted and took every man his garment and put it under him on the top of the stairs and blew the trumpet, saying, Jehu is king. It says that they took off their garment and they put it under him above the steps. And what that was symbolizing was it was symbolizing that they accepted the fact that Jehu was now reigning over them. They accepted the fact that Jehu was king. Verse 14. So Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi, conspired against Joram. Now Joram have kept Ramoth Gilead, he and all Israel, because of Hazael, king of Syria. So I said that Ahab was still king, but his son Joram actually was the king's servant. By this time, Ahab had died. And so Joram is serving as king. And so now that Jehu has been appointed as king, it says that he conspired against Joram. Drop down to verse 16. So by this time, Ahab is dead. Joram is Ahab and Jezebel's son. In verse 16, it says, so Jehu rode in a chariot and went to Jezreel, for Joram lay there. And Ahaziah, king of Judah, was come to see Joram. How like Ahaziah, king of Judah? Now, Ahaziah is the king of Judah. Joram is the king of the northern kingdom, or the kingdom Israel. What do y'all think that the king of Judah was doing going to visit the king of a known wicked family in the northern kingdom? What y'all think? Why y'all think that king of Judah was making it his business and taking it upon himself to go visit a known wicked family, or a king of a known wicked family in the northern kingdom? We're going to break it down. I ain't going to leave you on no cliffhangers. I'm not going to make you go figure it out on your own. If you get it before we break it down, all praise to the Most High. If you already know the answer, all praise to the Most High. If you don't know the answer and you hear it today, all praise to the Most High. Verse 17. And there stood a watchman on the tower in Jezreel, and he spied the company of Jehu as he came and said, I see a company. And Joram said, take a horseman and send to meet them, and let him say, is it peace? They say, look, somebody coming, and it's a whole army of them. He said, look, send somebody out there, just make sure it's good. Make sure it's peaceful before you get here. Verse 18, so there went one on horseback to meet him and said, thus said the king, is it peace? And Jehu said, what hast thou to do with peace? Turn thee behind me. And the watchman told, saying, the messenger came to them, but he cometh not again. So he said, look, ain't no peace. Ain't no peace. And if you want to live, you better follow me. Don't go back. Because if you go back and I get there and I realize that you're allied with the king, it's lights out for you. And so they tell the king, look, we sent the messenger, but he never came back. Verse 19, then he sent out a second on horseback, which came to them and said, thus said the king, is it peace? And Jehu answered, what hast thou to do with peace? Turn thee behind me. And the watchman told, saying, he came even unto them and cometh not again. And the driving is like the driving of Jehu, the son of Nimshi, or the grandson of Nimshi, for he driveth furiously. Look, Jehu, he doing 100 miles an hour on the chariot with his army. They coming and dust is flying up. They not playing no games. And so he said, look, he coming and he coming hard. Verse 21, and Joram said, make ready, and his chariot was made ready. And Joram, king of Israel, and Ahaziah, king of Judah, went out. So both of the kings went out to address this issue. The king of the northern kingdom and the king of the kingdom of Judah both went out to address this issue. And Joram, king of Israel, and Ahaziah, king of Judah, went out, each in his chariot, and they went out against Jehu and met him in the portion of Naboth, the Jezreelite. Howbeit, Howbeit they run into each other in the portion of Naboth the Jezreelite, the one that Joram, daddy, and his mama had put to death. Verse 22, and it came to pass when Joram saw Jehu that he said, is it peace? And he answered, what peace? So long as the whoredoms of thy mother Jezebel and her witchcrafts are so many. Say, look, all of what your mama has done in Israel, all of how your mama has wrought wickedness throughout the nation, all how your mama has turned people away from the Most High Yah, there is no such thing as peace. It can't be no peace. It can't be no peace until the word of the Most High Yah has come to pass. And you know what the Most High sent me to do? He sent me to make sure that you get killed. He sent me to make sure that you get killed. And Joram turned his hands, and Joram turned his hands and fled and said unto Ahaziah, there is treachery, O Ahaziah. He was saying, look, you better get out of here. It's about to go down. Verse 24, and Jehu drew a bow with his full strength, and he smote Jehoram. All right, let's take a break for a second. Jehoram right here is actually Joram, okay? Jehoram is another way to pronounce Joram, and we have to have that understanding because Jehoram and Joram are actually two different people that we're going to see here. It says, and he drew his bow with his full strength and smote Jehoram or Joram between his arms, and the arrow went out at his heart, and he sunk down in his chariot. So he finally got Ahab's son, hit him with that bow, 50 yards away, dropped him in his chariot. Verse 25, then said Jehu to Bidkar, his captain, take up and cast him in the portion of the field of Naboth the Jezreelite, for remember how that when I and thou rode together after Ahab his father, Yah laid this burden upon him. The burden was now put on Joram to be the one where his blood had to be licked up by the dogs in the very same place that Naboth's blood was licked up by the dogs. Verse 26, surely I have seen yesterday the blood of Naboth, I like this, Aki, and the blood of his sons. That's more insight. That's a nugget right there. It said that he has seen the blood of Naboth and the blood of his sons, saith Yah. And I will requite thee in this plat, saith Yah. Now therefore, take and cast him in this plat, and I'm assuming that's a plot of ground, according to the word of Yah. Even the blood of Naboth's sons have been shed. So go ahead and put it in the chat if you have an idea. Who should have gained Naboth's possession or his inheritance after he died? Who should have gained his possession? Who should have actually had rights to the vineyard after Naboth was killed innocently? Who should have got the vineyard? His son. That's right. That's right, Akoti. His family. His sons should have gotten his inheritance. If something is to happen to me, my son should get my inheritance. My inheritance. My offspring should get my inheritance. How would they keep Naboth's family from ever inheriting the vineyard? Kill him. We're not only going to kill him, we're going to kill his offspring too. We're going to kill his offspring too. So that's why it says that Yah says, look, I've seen the blood of Naboth and the blood of his sons. So Jehu says, look, take his body and cast it in the field of Naboth. So that the prophecy that was given to Elijah, that was spoken of by Elisha, that was given to the child of the prophet, that was brought to me, so that prophecy could come to pass. Verse 27. But when Ahaziah, the king of Judah, saw this, he fled by the way of the garden house. And Jehu followed after him and said, smite him also in the chariot. And they did so at the going up to Gur, which is by Ibleam, and he fled to Megiddo and died there. So Ahaziah is the king of Judah, and Jehu is sent to kill the king of the northern kingdom, but Jehu says, kill him too. Why y'all think that he killed the king of Judah too? I mean, he was told to kill Ahab. Ahab wasn't around anymore, so he killed Joram, his son. Why you think he killed the king of Judah too? He wasn't instructed to kill the king of Judah. We're going to break it down. Just hold on. If you stick around to the end, I promise you, we're gonna break that down. But now, family, Jehu has the crown. Jehu has the crown. Verse 29. And in the 11th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, began Ahaziah to reign over Judah. And when Jehu was come to Jezreel, Jezebel, see, she's still on the scene. She hadn't gone anywhere yet. Jezebel, when Jehu was coming on the scene, when he was riding into the city, because now he got the crown. There is no more Ahab. There is no more Joram. Jehu is the king now. And when he was coming into the city, Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face and tied her head and looked out a window. So it says that she painted her face. She painted her face. Somebody throw it in the chat. What it means? She painted her face. Ladies, y'all know how y'all do. Y'all know how y'all do. I ain't mad at you, but throw it in the chat. There you go. There you go, Coty. She put on that makeup. She put on that makeup. She had that look. She had that foundation just right. She had that eyeliner just right. She had that eyeshadow hidden. Probably was matching her garment, her outfit. I hope she didn't do it, but you know how they do it today. They put them long eyelashes on. She just stuck them long eyelashes on. It says that she painted her face. She hit the makeup, right? Not only did she hit the makeup, it said that she did her hair. Man, she was making sure she was looking like that. She said, look, he coming. I'm looking like that. I'm gonna make sure my face is beat. Ain't that what y'all say, ladies? She said, my face is beat. My hair is done. For the presence of the man who was sent to kill her husband. The same man who had killed her son. He beautified herself to be in his presence. Why? She's using that old art of seduction. See, this is the old art of seduction. She was willing to give herself to Jehu to stay in power. She was beautifying herself to try to seduce Jehu so she could remain queen, or the mother of a king, is what a queen in Israel is. She was willing to give herself to Jehu to keep her glory. She was willing to give herself to Jehu to keep crown in her family. You see, I told you, Jezebel was a princess. She grew up royalty. All she knew was royalty. All Jezebel knew was to do what I need to do to get what I want in the position of royalty. Verse 31. And as Jehu entered in at the gate, she said, had Zimri peace, who slew his master? So Zimri was another one who was sent to kill his master. All right. And he was sent to kill his wicked master. And I think that Zimri, when he killed his master, he only reigned for king is like 7 days. And the people revolted against him for killing the king. And then they end up slaying him. So now she's telling her, look, Jehu, ain't nothing good gonna come out of this. Nothing good gonna come out of this. You done kill your master Ahab. Because remember, Jehu was a part of Ahab's army. She said, you done kill your master. You done kill your master's son. Here I am standing in the position of power as the queen in the northern kingdom. And if you kill me too, what good is going to come out of this, Jehu? You're going to end up just like Zimri. Verse 32. And he lifted up his face to the window and said, who is on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 eunuchs. And he said, throw her down. Throw her down here. Throw her down. So they threw her down, and some of her blood sprinkled on the wall and on the horses, and he trod her underfoot. Look, Jehu was not the bit more impressed by that makeup. He won't impressed by them eyelashes. He won't impressed that she had that hair laid. He won't impressed by her foundation, by her eyeshadow. He said, throw her down, and when she hit the ground, he rolled over top of her with the horses. Jehu said, I got something better. I got something better. I got the crown. I got something better than Jezebel. So you can't seduce me with how you're trying to seduce me. Verse 34. And when he was come in, He did eat and drink and said, go see now this cursed woman and bury her, for she is a king's daughter. Hey, true to the game. Jehu was true to the game. He said, look, yeah, we were set to kill her. We gonna do it. We handled our business. He didn't even get her out the street first. He went and ate and drank. He said, look, let me wash my hands for a job well done. He went and he ate and he drank and he got himself together. He said, all right, true to the game. I'm true to the game, fellas. She is the daughter of a king. She is royalty. Get her up out the street. We're going to bury her. We're not going to leave her out there. Verse 35, and they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull and the feet and the palm of her hands. Wherefore they came in, and they came again and told him, and he said, this is the word of Yah, which he spake by his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, in the portion of Jezreel shall dogs eat the flesh of Jezebel, and the carcass of Jezebel shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Jezreel, so that they shall not say, this is Jezebel. The Most High Yah says she not gonna get no burial place. She not gonna get that luxury. Because remember, see, her and I have history, and I owe her one. And what I owe her, she won't get the burial of royalty. You see, family, what the foundation that I'm trying to build here is that in all of Jezebel's wickedness, in all of her manipulation, in all the worldly glory that she once had, in her pursuit of the crown, it costed her her life. And she was willing to risk it all for the crown. She was willing to risk it all for the crown. She was willing to go against the Most High Yah. She was willing to kill an innocent man. She was willing to have people transgress and break Torah. She was willing to give herself to the man who was sent to kill her husband, who had just killed her son, for the crown. She was willing to give it all. But see, the thing about it is that glory that she had as royalty in her time of judgment, her sins and wickedness caught up with her. There's going to be a time, family, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent because I'm trying to keep myself on track, but there's going to be a time that everybody is going to have to stand before the judgment. Jezebel was willing to do anything to continue to be associated with the crown, including seduce, including kill, including lie, including steal. By any means necessary, she had to be associated with the crown. And see, it's more than just that thing on the head that looks good. It's more than that gold crown that has nice jewels and stones and rubies in it. You see, that crown, it comes with something. And let me break the crown down to you. That crown comes with something. That crown comes with glory, if you will. We say kabod. That crown comes with esteem. It comes with prestige. That crown comes with power and respect. The crown comes with abundance. And Jezebel wanted all of that. She wanted it all by any means. But look at what it cost her in her time of judgment. Now, what y'all think, family? Put a 100 in the chat if you want to break down that king of Judah and king of the northern kingdom running together thing. Now, if y'all don't want to break it down, family, I'm telling you, I'll return your time back to you, and you can go eat you a plate and kick it with your family. You know, I'll shut it down right here, and we can go. I'll go kick it with my family. So if you ready for me to go, just put a go in the chat. If you ready, if you want to break that thing down, put a 100 in the chat. If you're ready to break down why did we see the king of Judah running with the king of the northern kingdom, and we see Jehu kill both of them? Keith, I'm sorry. The majority has it, Keith. I tried to let you off early. I tried to give you a break. The majority have it. I see 100 rolling. 100 rolling. Let's break it down, Miss Picard. I said I wasn't gonna leave you on a cliffhanger. Let's break it down. Go to 2 Chronicles, Aki, chapter 22, verse 1. Don't blame me, Aki. Don't blame me. I tried to get you out of here early today. 2 Chronicles 22, verse 1. We're gonna break this thing down. We're not gonna leave it up to speculation. We're gonna break it down in script. In 2 Chronicles chapter 22, in verse 1, it says, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem made Ahaziah, his youngest son, king in his stead. For the band of men that came with the Arabians to camp had slain all the eldest. So Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, reigned. So remember earlier, I told you don't confuse Ahab's son Joram as Jehoram because there were two of them. There was actually a Jehoram that was a king that was from the kingdom of Judah. He was from the tribe of Judah. Okay, he was from the lineage of kings of Judah. All right, verse 2. 42 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Athaliah. I like Athaliah, the daughter of Omri. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, family, here's another one where you got to pay attention to because it says that Athaliah was the daughter of Omri, but Athaliah was actually the granddaughter of Omri. We'll break that down in just a second. But Athaliah was the granddaughter of Omri, okay? And she was Ahaziah's, who was the king of Judah. That was his mama. That was his mother, okay? Verse 3, it says, he also walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, for his mother was his counselor to do wickedly. So we're talking about a king of Judah. Ahab was a king of the northern kingdom. He was a king in Israel. Why is a king of Judah, the text is telling us that the king of Judah was walking in the ways of the house of Ahab and that his mama was his counselor to do wickedly. I mean, your mama's supposed to be leading you in the right direction. Your mama's supposed to be instilling the things in you that's going to keep you safe and keep you protected and allow you to prosper. But the text says that his mama counseled him to do wickedly. And he was a king in Judah, but he walked like the king of Israel. He walked like the house of Ahab. Verse 4, wherefore he did evil in the sight of Yah, like the house of Ahab, for they were his counselors, after the death of his father to his destruction. So the house of Ahab and Jezebel is Ahab's wife, became Ahaziah, who was the king of Judah, became his counselors in the way that he should walk after the death of his father. And it said that it was to his destruction. So now let's break it down. Aki, go to 2 Kings chapter 8, verse 16. 2 Kings chapter 8, verse 16. That's why you got to have your endurance built up if you want to understand this text, family, because sometimes it takes you studying in different places and you got to have the wind for it. If you don't have the wind for it, you're not going to get everything out of it, family. If you quitting early, you're never going to run that mile. So you got to have the endurance to break these things down. Verse 16, it says that in the 5th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Jehoshaphat being the king of Judah, Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, began to reign. So let's slow it down. Jehoram was the son of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat is a king, who was a righteous king, by the way, of Judah. Jehoram, not to be confused with Joram, the king of Ahab, Jehoram was the son of the king Jehoshaphat, and he reigned in Judah. Verse 17, 32 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way in the way of the kings of Israel, meaning Ahab and his family, as did the house of Ahab. For the daughter of Ahab was his wife. So that means that Jehoshaphat, the righteous king of Judah, had a son, Jehoram, and Jehoram married Ahab's daughter, which just connected the two families together. And it says that he did evil in the sight of Yah. So let's see who's rolling with me. Okay, let's see who's rolling with me. Who was Ahab's wife? Who was Ahab's wife? You can put it in the chat if you know. Who was Ahab's wife? Let's see if I need to slow down and pump my brakes a little bit. That's it. That's it, Aki. That's it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Look, somebody taking some notes. Somebody taking some notes. All praise to the Most High. Jezebel was Ahab's wife. So in verse 18, who is Ahab's daughter? Put it in the chat. Who is Ahab's daughter in verse 18? Y'all don't remember her name? There you go. Look, scholars in the room. Athaliah. That's right. Athaliah is Ahab's daughter. Okay. Who married Athaliah? Who married Athaliah? Jehoram. That's right. Jehoram, which was a king in Judah, married Ahab and Jezebel's daughter. So now the family is intertwined. Jehoram is Ahaziah's father. And so Ahaziah is actually the grandson of Ahab and Jezebel. Yeah, he's reigning in Judah, but he's actually the grandson of Jezebel and Ahab. Athaliah, his mama, is Jezebel's daughter. Go back to Second Chronicles chapter 22, Aki, and pick up at verse 2. So now we can understand why it says, look, when his daddy died, that Ahab's family became his counselors. They became his counselors. And what y'all think? Y'all think that they were counseling him in the righteous way? No, it was no way that they was counseling him in a righteous way because they won't live in righteously. So if they were counseling him, they were counseling him in the manner of wickedness, in a manner of sin and evil. Verse 2, it says, 42 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri. So I said that we were going to break that down. Omri is Ahab's daddy. So when it says that Athaliah is the daughter of Omri, what it's actually saying is she is the granddaughter of Omri. Omri was a king. And so she's the granddaughter of Omri and the daughter of Ahab. All right. Verse 3. He also walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, for his mother was his counselor to do wickedly. Man, Athaliah sound like a chip off the old block. Who was counseling Ahab to do wickedly? Who was counseling Ahab to do wickedly when he wanted that vineyard? When he had to have that vineyard and it was against Torah? When he had to have that vineyard and he knew it wasn't right? When he had to have that vineyard and he knew that the Most High forbade him to have it, who was counseling him? That's right. Jezebel, his wife, that wicked lady. She was counseling him to do wicked. And Ahab, not Ahab, but Ahaziah, not even Ahab's son, not even one of his sons, but his grandson from the tribe of Judah was being counseled by another wicked lady. And that wicked lady was Jezebel's daughter. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy, Mishpachah? Generational curses. Verse 4, wherefore he did evil in the sight of Yah, like the house of Ahab, for they were his counselors after the death of his father to his destruction. That's why he went to visit the king of Israel, Joram. That's why when Jehu came to slay Joram, that's why Ahaziah was there, because Joram was actually his uncle. That's Athaliah's brother. And Joram had been injured in a battle, and his nephew, Ahaziah, the king of Judah, was coming to visit his uncle in his time of recovery. And his mama, Jezebel's daughter, was his evil and wicked counselor. And just like Jezebel and his granddaddy on his mama's side, which was Ahab, she was a wicked counselor. Athaliah was a wicked counselor. Only thing that I could do when I was reading this and studying this out was shake my head, because it's a mess. It's a tangled web of wickedness going on inside of the nation right here. Drop down to verse 7, Aki. And the destruction of Ahaziah was of Elohim. So Ahaziah being killed by Jehu was actually by the hand of the Most High Yah. By coming to Joram, for when he was come, he went out with, it says Jehoram, but that's Joram, king of Israel, against Jehu, the son or grandson of Nimshi, who Yah had anointed to cut off the house of Ahab. And it came to pass that when Jehu was executing judgment upon the house of Ahab and found the princes of Judah and the sons of the brethren of Ahaziah that ministered to Ahaziah, he slew them. So he killed Ahaziah and he killed his brothers. And he sought Ahaziah, and they caught him, for he was hid in Samaria, and brought him to Jehu. And when they had slain him, they buried him, because they say, true to the game, he is the son or grandson of Jehoshaphat. And Jehoshaphat, it says, he sought Yah with all his heart. So the house of Ahaziah had no power to keep still the kingdom. So Jehu, he's still true to the game. He said, look, he was wicked, but his granddaddy was righteous. Okay. So yeah, we're going to slay him, but we're going to give him a proper burial. All right. And then it says that there was nobody that was ready to take over the throne. That's what it means when it says that the house of Ahaziah had no power to keep still the kingdom. Nobody was fit. Nobody was ready to take over the throne. I mean, give me 2 Kings chapter 10, verse 13, Aki. We just read that his brethren came down, right? And Jehu had something in store for his brethren too. In 2 Kings chapter 10, verse 13, it says, Jehu met with the brethren of Ahaziah, king of Judah, and said, who are ye? And they answered, we are the brethren of Ahaziah, and we go down to salute the children of the king and the children of the, highlighted Aki, queen. They said that they were coming to see, they were coming to visit the children of the king and also the children of the queen. Who is this queen? Who this queen y'all think they talking about? Who y'all think they talking about? Y'all think they talking about Ahaziah's wife? That's what y'all think they talk about? Verse 14. And he said, take them alive. And they took them alive and slew them at the pit of the shearing house, even 42 men, neither left he any of them. So the text tells us that nobody was fit to reign as king in Judah. Nobody in the house of Ahaziah was fit to sit on the throne. Jehu slew all of his brothers. But who was this queen? Who was this queen? Go to 2 Chronicles chapter 22 and pick up at verse 10, Aki. We're going to see just who this queen was that they were coming to visit the children of. In 2 Chronicles chapter 22, verse 10 is going to break it down who this queen was. It says, but when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and she destroyed all the seed royal of the house of Judah. Hold on. Now remember, Ahaziah is Athaliah's son. That's his mama. When she found out her son was dead, it said that she destroyed all the seed royal of the house of Judah. That means she destroyed all offspring of Ahaziah. She killed her own grandchildren. She was willing to kill her own grandchildren. But why would she do something like that? How could somebody really harm their own offspring? I look at my mama, and my kids love her dearly. And I'm sure many of you on the call know that, look, it's something to say about a relationship between children and their grandparents. How could a grandmother bring herself to slay the seed royal of the house of Judah, which means the lineage of the house of Ahaziah? Verse 11. But Jehoshabeth, the daughter of the king, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah. So look, there's another son. Don't miss that, family. Jehoshabeth, the daughter of the king, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons that were slain, and put him in his nurse in a bedchamber. So Jehoshabeth, the daughter of King Jehoram, the wife of Jehoiada, the priest, for she was the sister of Ahaziah, hid him from Athaliah, so that she slew him not. She hid him Her aunt hid that boy from his own grandmother. But watch this. Look at where she hid him at. All praise to the Most High, verse 12. And he was with him, and he was with him hid in the house of Elohim for 6 years. It said that she hid the only son that was left that could reign on the throne. She hid him in the house of the Most High. Look, I'm trying not to go off on it, but she hid him. He abided. Let me put it that way. He abided in the house of the Most High. But then look what it says at the end of verse 12. And Athaliah reigned over the land. So let's see if y'all tracking with me. Put it in the chat. Who was that queen that they were coming to see? Who was reigning over the land of Judah at this particular time when Ahaziah had been killed? Who was reigning as queen? Who was reigning as queen? There you go. There you go. Athaliah, his mama. His mama killed her own grandson so she could reign as queen. With nobody to sit on the throne, Athaliah was the queen in Judah or Yehuda. Just like her mama, sitting up in that window when Jehu got there, just like her mama. That's why she did it. That's why she was willing to kill her own grandchildren. See, she wanted the power. She wanted the throne. She wanted the esteem. She wanted the crown. She wanted the crown, and she was willing to do the unthinkable just for the crown. Just like her mama. Just like her mama, a chip off the old block. Just like her mama, she was willing to do. That's right. The apple don't fall too far from the tree. She was willing to do the unthinkable for the crown. But all praise to the Most High. Look, I don't know if y'all caught it yet, but I'm gonna give you a cliff note and you can study it out on your own, family. Hallelujah. There was a preserved son. There was one son. There was one son left. A branch of David, a branch of Dawid, a son that was preserved, that escaped death, a son that abided unto the house of Elohim until his time was at hand to reign as king. Family, I pray y'all listen. I'm saying something. I'm trying to leave it out there and not go on a tangent with it, but I'm saying something. There was a son left, family, that abided in the house of Elohim until the time came for him to reign as king. We can get ready to wrap it up here shortly, Aki. Go to chapter 23 of Second Chronicles and pick up at verse 1. Well, Athaliah, she one of those queens of Israel where she was something else. She was something else, just like her mama. In Second Chronicles chapter 23, verse 1, it says, and in the 7th year, Jehoiada strengthened himself and took the captains of hundreds, Azariah and the son of Jehoram, and Ishmael, and the son of Jehonan, and Azariah, the son of Obed, and Maaseiah, the son of Odiah, and Elishaphat, the son of Zikri, into covenant with him. So he's a priest. Jehoiada is a priest, and he takes some people into covenant with him. In verse 2, it says, and they went about into Yehuda and gathered the Levites out of all the cities of Yehuda and the chief of the fathers of Israel, and they came to Jerusalem. And all the congregation made a covenant with the king in the house of Elohim. He was ready to reign as king. They made a covenant. They say, look, he young, but look, he's the king, rightfully so. And so it said that they made a covenant with him in Jerusalem at the house of Elohim. And he said unto them, behold, the king's son shall reign as Yah have said of the sons of Dawid. There's that branch of David that I was talking about. This is the son. This is the thing that ye shall do. A third part of you entering on the Shabbat of the priests and of the Levites shall be porters of the doors. And the third part shall be at the king's house. And the third part at the gate of the foundation. And all the people shall be in the courts of the house of Yahuwah. But let none come into the house of Yah, save the priests, and they that minister of the Levites. They shall go in, for they are Kodesh, or set apart. But all the people, everybody else, shall keep the watch of Yah. And the Levites shall compass the king round about, every man with his weapons in his hand. And whosoever else cometh into the house, he shall be put to death. But be ye with the king when he cometh in and when he goeth out. Jehoiada said, look, this is what we doing. I want all the priests. I want y'all coming and look, keep doing your duty. Keep the order of the house of Elohim. You still keep the order of the temple. You still do your thing, but this is what we're gonna do. He's rightfully the king. So we're going to protect him at all costs. We're going to surround him. He's not look, if he got to go to the bathroom, somebody better be going with him, and everybody better be strapped. And if anybody comes into the temple and they not a priest, put them to death. Go ahead and kill him. Verse 8. So the Levites and all Yehuda did according to all the things that Jehoiada the priest had commanded, and took every man his men that were to come in on the Shabbat, with them that were to go out on the Shabbat. For Jehoiada the priest dismissed not the courses. So he said, look, you still got to do what the Most High told you to do. But in the meantime, we still going to protect the king. Moreover, Jehoiada the priest delivered to the captains of hundreds spears and bucklers and shields that had been King David's, which were in the house of Elohim. And he set all the people, every man having his weapon in his hand, from the right side of the temple to the left side of the temple, along by the altar and the temple, by the king round about. Then they brought out the king's son and put upon him, highlight it for me, Aki, the title of today's message. Put it in the chat, what they put on. The crown. They put the crown on him. It was his time. It was now his time to reign as king. They put the crown on top of the king. They brought him out and they gave him the crown. All right. Verse 11 again. Then they brought out the king's son and put upon him the crown and gave him the testimony and made him king. And Jehoiada and his sons anointed him and said, Elohim, save the king. Now when Athaliah heard the noise of the people running and praising the king, she came to the people in the house of Yah. Now remember, he was in the house before they anointed him as king for 6 years. He was in the temple or in the house of the Most High for 6 years. So for 6 years, Athaliah is still reigning as queen in Yehuda. And she hear this big commotion. They blowing the they blowing the shofars, they hitting the tambourines, they making noise, they beating the drum, they singing, they screaming. And she want to know what in the world. I ain't heard nothing like this in the temple and I don't know how long. What is going on in the temple of the Most High Yah? Verse 13, and she looked and behold, the king stood at his pillar at the entering in, and the princes and the trumpets by the king. And all the people of the land rejoiced and sounded with trumpets, all the singers with instruments of music, and such as taught to sing praise. Then Athaliah rent her clothes and said, treason, treason. Now, how's she going to get legalistic when she was the one that conned her way to being queen in Jerusalem or queen in Yehuda? So she's saying treason. Look, they done allowed her. She said they done brought somebody else and allowed him to be king, but I'm the queen. That's treason. That ain't right. But watch what happens. Verse 14, then Jehoiada the priest brought out the captain of hundreds that were set over the host and said unto them, have her forth of the ranges, and whoso follow her, let him be slain with the sword. For the priest said, slay her not in the house of Yah. So don't do it in the temple. This is a Kodesh place. But take her out to the range and y'all go ahead and kill her. And anybody who follow behind her, that submit to her as the queen, slay them by the sword too. Verse 15, so they laid hands on her, and when she was come to the entering of the horse gate by the king's house, they slew her there. That's where the crown ended for her family. That's where the crown ended for. I'm not done. Don't cut me off yet, Aki. I ain't out of gas just yet, but I'm going to get ready to wrap it up. Today's message is entitled The Crown. And you see, we see what Ahab was willing to do for the crown. We see what Jezebel was willing to do for the crown. We see what Athaliah was willing to do for the crown. They were willing to do the unthinkable. They were willing to risk it all. They were willing to even accept those who wanted to do them bodily harm if they could seduce them for the crown. But what exactly is the crown? What's the crown, family? Now, we gave some history and some backstory here, but now I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to us. What's the crown? You see, the crown is whatever your heart desires. The crown is whatever makes you feel validated. The crown is whatever glorifies you. Whatever it is that you striving for, that's the crown. That's the crown. And we can find ourselves, if we're not careful, we're willing to do the unthinkable for the crown. Your crown and my crown may be different if we're looking at two different things, family. But we got to be aware of the crown, and we gotta check how we living. We got to check how we living. See, Ahab, Jezebel, and Athaliah, they were all chasing physical crowns. They were chasing worldly crowns. And they were willing to do whatever it takes or whatever it took for that worldly crown that they wanted. But let me show you something about a worldly crown. Let's look at Proverbs 27:24. Look at Proverbs 27:24. And I want to show you something about those worldly crowns, okay? Because see, those worldly crowns, they look good. Those worldly crowns are shining. Those worldly crowns grab your attention and they draw you in. But I'm going to show you something about those worldly crowns. In Proverbs 27, verse 24, it says, "For riches are not forever." It's not forever. They were chasing a physical crown that wasn't going to endure. They're not forever. And it says that the crown endure to every generation. None of that will profit in the day of return of our anointed king. Give me Jeremiah chapter 13, verse 18, Aki. Jeremiah chapter 13, verse 18. See, it tells us to be mindful and what we need to do when we find ourselves desiring the wrong crown, that worldly crown. It says, "Say unto the king and to the queen, humble yourselves, sit down, for your principalities shall come down, even the crown of your glory or the crown of your kabod." All of these things are going to come to an end. So what we need to be doing, family, is we need to make sure that we are after the right crown. That spiritual crown is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that eternal crown. I'm not talking about something shiny with stones in it or nothing like that, something that you can go buy or have made for you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that eternal crown. I'm talking about the crown that will last. That crown of righteousness is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a crown of life. Don't be out here living day to day for things that are temporary. Don't be out here willing to do whatever it takes for the crown that is carnal. Jezebel, Athaliah, Ahab were willing to do whatever it took. What are you willing to do for the crown? What are you willing to do? And I'm talking about that spiritual crown. I keep 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24. I'm talking about the spiritual crown. I ain't talking about a crown that can be made with hands. I'm talking about a crown that can only be given by the Most High Yah, the one that be given to us by our King. That's the crown I'm talking about. Verse 24, it says, "Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that you may obtain." That's a beautiful way to say, family, we not in this thing for nothing. We not giving up this world for nothing. We not forsaking it all and turning our face toward the Most High Yah and keeping His laws, statutes, and commandments. We not repenting, praying, and fasting for nothing. We not keeping the faith and spreading the message of the King for nothing. We doing this to obtain something. Verse 25. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown. They do it to obtain a corruptible crown. Athaliah, Jezebel, those two queens, they did it for a corruptible crown. People that we see that you try to spread this word to and they don't want to hear it, they don't want to walk in righteousness, they do it for a corruptible crown. Remember, what's the crown? That crown is anything that makes you tick, anything that gets you going, anything that has your focus, and that's your being. That's where you store up your riches at. If money is where you store up your riches at, that's your crown. That's corruptible. If fame and notoriety is where you store up your riches, that's your crown. If your family is where you store up your treasures, that's corruptible. That's your crown. But it says, but we do it for something that's incorruptible. We do it for that incorruptible crown. In 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1, it says, "I charge thee therefore before Elohim and the Master Yahushua Mashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom." That day of judgment is coming, just like it came for Athaliah. That day of judgment is coming. And he said, look, the return of the king, there's going to be a time that the quick, which was the living, and the dead has to stand before the judgment. But he instructs us to do something. He encourages us to do something. In verse 2, he said, preach the word. Be instant in season, out of season. Be ready to give this word. Look, when you feel that the timing is right, when you feel that the timing ain't right, you got to be walking this thing out. You got to be walking this thing out and be ready to give the message of the crown in season and out of season. It says, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. Long suffering means you got to endure. Verse 5, I keep. Long suffering means you got to endure. You got to go through it. This a marathon. It's not a sprint. You got to go through it, and you got to take your bumps and bruises. Verse 5, it says, but watch thou in all things. We get to watch, but what he's actually saying is to watch yourself. Be mindful of yourself in all things. Be mindful of your thoughts. Be mindful of your actions. Be mindful of your words in all things. Endure afflictions. Do the work of an evangelist. Make full proof of thy ministry. That's what I'm trying to tell you today, family. Make full proof of your ministry. Full proof of your ministry. It don't have to be, sitting in front of people teaching. It don't have to be that. It can be just a word. Make full proof of your ministry. Make sure your ministry is solid, well-rounded. Don't have that little thing nagging on you that's bringing your ministry down, that makes your ministry ineffective. If it's your attitude, you gotta let it go. If it's a worldly crown, you got to let it go. You got to make full proof of your ministry. Shaul says in verse 6, for I am now ready to be offered. He said, I'm ready. I don't got no regrets. I'm ready to be offered. And the time come of my departure, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth, there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, an incorruptible crown, which the master, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing. If you know that there's a crown waiting for you when you finish the race, put a hallelujah. If you're making it your business to improve and make full proof of your ministry so you can find yourself worthy of the crown when your time is at hand, put a 100 in the chat. There is a crown of life for those who love the appearing of the king. There's going to be some that don't love it. Just like Athaliah, and when that time of judgment comes, it ain't no Jezebel spirit going on. It ain't no seduction going on. It ain't no changing the verdict. It's time to pay, and you're going to pay with your life. My question today to you, family, and you don't have to answer it to me, is a question that I even ask myself. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to incorporate to attain the crown? Will you be found worthy of the crown in your day of judgment? I don't know about you, Mr. Picard, but I'm striving for my crown. I'm striving for the crown. I'm striving for that crown, and I ain't not a crown of gold and stones. I spoke earlier about the crown being the esteem or being the glory. You see, when we are able and make it through the judgment, and we get script talks about glorified bodies. When we make it to that point of everlasting life, of immortality, see, that is a level of glory that man does not have right now. That's a level of kabod or esteem that man don't have right now. But see, I'm not even focused on that crown for that. I'm not even striving and enduring for my crown just because I want that esteem. I want the crown so I can be like the elders, I key in Revelation chapter 4, verse 1. I want to be like the elders in Revelation chapter 4. We're gonna pick up at verse 1 because Yohanan, or who they know as John, he saw something in the book of Revelation, and this is what I'm striving every day for. Verse 1, it says, after this I looked, and behold, a door was open in the Shemaim. And the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. Drop down to verse 10. Hallelujah. Drop down to verse 10, Aki. And then Yahakanah sees something, and this is what I'm striving for. It says, the 24 elders fall down before him that sat on the throne and worship him that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy. Hallelujah. Praise you, Most High Yah. Hallelujah. Thou art worthy, O Master. Thou art worthy, Yah, to receive the esteem, to receive the glory, to receive the honor and the power. I'm not worthy. I'm not the one worthy of the crown, family. I'm striving every day so I can take my crown and cast it at the throne, because Yah is the one that is worthy. The King, Mashiach, he is the one that is worthy of the glory and the power, giving all esteem to the Most High Yah. It's not us. For thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. Aki, I don't went longer than I normally do, and I got more. I promise you, I'm not out of gas. I got more ammo. I got more ammo, but I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. Aki, don't bring the picture up yet. I want to leave you with one thing in closing. We're gonna look at the Brown Driver Briggs. Okay, Jezebel, who is Athaliah's mother, is H348. H348. Jezebel, who's Athaliah's mother in the Hebrew, is H348. And what that means is Baal exalts. Baal exalts. It also can mean unchaste, as in promiscuous. And that's why she's known as a whore, if you will. But it means Baal exalts. Baal lifts up. Athaliah, who is Jezebel's daughter, is H6271. H6271. Athaliah, who's Jezebel's daughter, her name means afflicted of Yah. Afflicted of Yah. Now, Ahaziah, who is Athaliah's son, Jezebel's grandson, his name means Yah possesses. So when you put the lineage in order from grandmother to mother to son in direct lineage, their name means the one who Baal, who is the devil, exalts, Yah afflicts, because Yah possesses, hallelujah, the crown. It's all about him. It's all about the king, Mishpachah. It was never about us. It was never about them, and they missed it. But that's why we see the elders has the crown at the throne, because in that day of judgment, the one who the devil or Baal has lifted up, Yah will afflict. It's going to cause them their life. And when it's all said and done, Yah will possess the crown. Mishpachah, I'm sorry for keeping y'all a little bit longer than I normally do. I pray that something was said that edifies. I pray that something was said that encourages. I pray something was said that causes you to pick up your Bible and study. I want to bid you shalom and todah for your time.